Good evening, and welcome to this week's special edition of Triad News 360 for March 28th, 2018. I'm Connor Robinson.
And I'm Allie Gold. Tonight we'll be diving into the vast world of sports.
We'll be talking about the surprises of March Madness, go behind the wall of the Daytona 500, and taking a look at some of the highlights of our local High Point University athletes. You won't want to miss a thing.
But first, the Final Four of the NCAA tournament is soon to be decided as the tournament nears its end.
For some of these players, it's the last time they will play as part of their college teams. These final games are filled with school pride and emotion for these players.
Triad News 360 reporter Jack Bidford was on the court for senior night at Wake Forest as they faced off against the powerful Notre Dame.
Sean Woods walks out with his family as the Wake Forest Demon Deacons celebrated their senior night as they graduate 4 seniors in their final game of the year against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. This game would be an offensive shootout, which would include a game high from senior guard Mitchell Wilbekin, who led all Deacs with 14, in front of a lively crowd on Saturday, February 24th. Coach Odom and company would fight to hold on to a first-half lead, but that effort would not be enough to topple the Notre Dame high-powered offense, led by senior Matt Farrell. Farrell would run down the clock and bury this three with just 5 seconds remaining in the game to seal the deal for the Fighting Irish. Devastated, the Wake Forest seniors will walk off the floor of Joel Coliseum for the last time. Notre Dame coach Mike Bray was asked after the game about his team's performance in their comeback win.
Would have liked to have Bonzi the last 2 months, but is there a
Sure.
silver lining in that?
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, you look at the guys that have stepped forward. You know, even a Nick Chogo tonight, he doesn't score, but he's got 9 rebounds and plays 32 minutes. I don't know how Pfluger played tonight. He's really hurt. I'd take my hand. We maybe can make a run at this thing, especially after today. Our pulse is still there after today.
What an emotional yet joyous occasion for those seniors playing in their final game.
It must be pretty great to feel the love and support of their team and the fans as they say goodbye, even though they will always be remembered their last game losing on a last-second three-pointer to the Fighting Irish.
Although the temperatures are in the 40s, UNCG and High Point University Panthers are preparing to take on each other tonight in baseball. Joining us live from UNCG Baseball Stadium is Triad News 360er Ashley Brooke Daniels.
It's a chilly night for baseball, but UNCG has had more to cheer about recently. What's been going on with the Spartans?
Thank you, Connor, Allie. Yes, it is pretty chilly outside. As you can see in my scarf and my gloves, I think it's in the 40s, but I'm standing out here at the UNCG Baseball Stadium. They're playing High Point tonight, and well, I'm just here also because last week, Greensboro actually had the chance to go to a watch party because for the first time in history, UNCG was in the first round of the NCAA March Madness basketball game, which is pretty awesome. Triad News 360 reporter Angelo was there for the watch party.
It's March, and that can only mean one thing: March Madness. It's contagious. Everybody thinks they can win before the tournament starts, even the underdog. Numerous students gathered together for a university-wide watch party at the University of North Carolina, Greensboro. Their school spirit and support were obvious as they cheered on their Spartans. UNCG qualified for the NCAA tournament by winning the SoCon tournament. They won 27 games this season, making it the winningest season in UNCG men's basketball history. And their reward? A 13 seed and a date with Gonzaga, a tournament powerhouse and last year's national runners-up. A tough matchup, no doubt, but it's been done before. But what does it mean for a smaller school like UNCG to have their team playing on the national stage? We talked to a couple of students to see what they thought.
It's really cool to see all of my classmates excited for once about UNCG basketball. 4 years ago, we only won 11 games, and to now be a 27-win team, you can just see the jubilation and the excitement in the air. People are looking forward for games that were coming up throughout the season, and now that we're in the big dance, there's even more excitement to come in and watch the game. And I think it's just contagious, and I hope it continues.
I would definitely say the vibe has been more upbeat. People are excited. They're going to the bookstore to buy their t-shirts, and everybody's been talking on Twitter and stuff and on social media. So I would definitely say the vibe is just a very excited, and we're ready to see where this is going to take us.
The campus was definitely buzzing with excitement. UNCG eventually fell to Gonzaga 68-64 in a game that essentially came down to the final possession. A valiant effort for sure. For Triad News 360, I'm Angelo Petrucci.
Watch parties are a great way for you and your friends to cheer on your team.
Absolutely. What better way to experience the thrill of the Big Three games? And UNCG made a close game of it, only losing by 4 to Gonzaga.
As someone who is trained to run into burning buildings, the hazing winds of Augusta's National Gold Club will not be the most daunting task Matt Parzell faces this year. Parzell is a firefighter with the Ladder Company 1 of the Brockton, Massachusetts Fire Department. He received one of the most prized invites in golf, an invitation to compete in this year's upcoming Masters tournament. After winning the U.S. Mid-Amateur Championship in Atlanta last October, his resilience and love for the sport of golf is inspiring, but his commitment to his job as a firefighter never interfered with. After Parzell won the U.S. Mid-Amateur in Atlanta, he flew home, arriving around 2 a.m. and reported to work the following morning at 7 a.m. Prepared to save lives of those in need as a firefighter, Parzell is a part of a heroic bond, but as a golfer, he might just be the most compelling U.S. Mid-Amateur champion ever to compete in the Masters.
Just 1 month ago was the closing ceremony of the Winter Olympic Games in South Korea. The United States took home a total of 23 medals, placing them 4th overall in medal count. But one familiar name you might not have heard much these past games was Boji Miller. The famous American alpine skier announced his official retirement last year after becoming the only American alpine ski racer in history to win medals at 3 different Olympic Games. While Miller was there for this year's Olympics, he was placed in the announcer's box rather than on the slopes. Triad News 360 reporter Juliet Jacobs caught up with Boji during his time in South Korea to discuss his successful career.
And in comes Boji Miller, looking for victory number 2 on the World Cup Tour. Boji Miller!
2-time World Cup alpine ski racing champion. World Championship gold medalist.
The tip-in is off the course. Boji Miller has the gold.
Olympic gold medalist. Boji Miller is America's most successful male alpine ski racer of all time. His unorthodox skiing style has been described as overly aggressive and erratic. A guy who never holds anything back.
I think the primary driving force is preparation. I mean, ski racing is not a safe sport no matter what you do, but if you're not prepared to do what you have to do on race day, it's really dangerous, and the consequences of a mistake or a crash are so severe.
Growing up entirely off the radar, homeschooled and without electricity, sports stardom came to Boji with its fair share of difficulties.
Regardless of whether or not you're able to sort of slough off the pressures or things like that, there's a lot of negative aspects that go with fame and with sports success. You have sponsorships and obligations that come along with it, so you definitely feel like a part of your life has been taken from you. But I'm not really sure that many people would change their decisions, but it feels that way at the time, and that's obviously tough, especially for young people.
Since his retirement, officially announced in October 2017, Boji has been able to further his newest passion, thoroughbred horse training. But Boji does promise one thing. So long as the sport of skiing is around, he will be a part of its world.
Throughout his career, Boji Miller participated in 5 Olympic Games and had 19 starts in all 5 alpine disciplines, winning a total of 6 gold medals.
Grayson Allen's Duke career ended this past Sunday, but not before he came agonizingly close to making a shot that would have given his team a place in the Final Four. It also didn't take long before the senior guard gave his legions of haters one last chance to dig on him and to revel in his failures against Kansas. With the clock ticking down in regulation in a game tied at 72 apiece, Allen kept the ball and tried to maneuver around Jayhawk defenders in search of an open shot. However, he wound up taking an off-balance 14-footer that hit the rim twice before rolling off as time expired. The game went into overtime where Allen was again unable to play the hero as top seeded Kansas held off the number 2 Blue Devils 85-81 to win the Midwest region. Allen actually made his final shot, a 3-pointer. But it was too late after he missed his previous 2 shots in the extra session, as well as committing 2 personal fouls and a turnover.
It's the Super Bowl World Cup for NASCAR, the Daytona 500. Ever wanted to take a closer look at what takes place behind the wall at the Daytona 500?
Absolutely. Triad News reporter Ashley Gaze had a special access to this exclusive area and is ready to give us the inside look.
Fans parked their RVs and campers 2 days in advance to get ready for the Daytona 500. When the gates opened for the third consecutive sold-out year, over 100,000 fans poured through the gates to find their seats for the biggest race in NASCAR. 40 cars started the race as Triad News 360 got an exclusive look behind the pit wall to see all the behind-the-scenes action every fan dreams of. From the roaring engines to the sounds of the air guns, during the pit stop, fans from all over the world came to see the Super Bowl of racing. Fans come from all over to watch the best drivers in the world. Isaac Rowling, who is from Iowa but is currently stationed in the Navy in Jacksonville, wouldn't do anything to miss it.
My favorite track is Bristol.
Bristol. And how many races have you been to?
In my life, I've probably been to about 20 NASCAR races.
With just 2 laps to go, a huge crash affected several cars during the front of the pack, ending their chance to win. As they were getting close to the finish line, there was one more crash. In the final lap, Austin Dillon survived it all and was able to cross the finish line first ahead of the remaining 15 cars that were still in the race. This is Dillon's second win in the Monster Energy Cup Series, with his first win being the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway last year. Austin is also a former High Point University student.
You know, a lot of people never realize just how much work goes on the sidelines of a racetrack and what a team effort racing truly is.
That's right. It's amazing to get such a close inside look. It gives you a better appreciation for the sport as a whole.
Coming up next at Triad News 360, just how far can a pole vaulter fly?
Also, we will be joined by some March Madness enthusiasts to discuss the twists and turns of this year's tournament.
We'll be right back.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
How am I going to pay for this?
Welcome back to Triad News 360. I'm Connor Robinson.
And I'm Allie Gold.
It was officially announced earlier today that Tubby Smith will become the newest head coach at the High Point University men's basketball team. High Point University is special to Tubby Smith, seeing that it is his alma mater. Smith played for HPU from 1969 to 1973 and was introduced into the High Point Athletics Hall of Fame in 2016. A banner of Smith hangs in the Panthers arena, honoring him and his basketball legacy. Smith is coming to HPU after a 2-year stint at head coach at Memphis. This will be Smith's 7th head coaching job in college basketball. Since Smith's coaching career began in 1991, he has coached at Memphis, Tulsa, Georgia, Minnesota, Texas Tech, and Kentucky. Smith was a 40-26 in 2 seasons at Memphis, going 21-13 this past season.
Track and field season has officially begun. Track athletes are ready to dominate in their individual events, but some athletes will fly higher than others.
Pole vaulters train to clear new heights every day. Soaring feet up first over an obstacle so high in the air must be quite the thrill.
Triad News 360 reporter Emily Johnson recently caught up with a High Point University student pole vaulter about her unique goals.
Natalie Elliott is breaking records all around in pole vaulting with a personal record of clearing 3.95 meters, which is higher than an average basketball hoop, ultimately breaking High Point University's school record of 3.9 meters. In our interview with Elliott, we asked her what her biggest career goals were and what she wants to achieve in this upcoming season.
Well, my senior year, I broke the district record and I placed first. So that was my biggest high school career. And this past winter, I placed first at conference for Big South. My goal for outdoor season is to place first again at conference and hopefully get over 13 feet or 4 meters.
For completing her goal of coming in first at Big South Conference for a second time, she is vigorously training and working with her coach, Scott Houston, to strive to reach this goal.
For me, the greatest thing about being a coach is the impact that you can have on others, helping them, grow confidence and figure out how to accomplish their goals.
What are you looking to see out of Natalie this outdoor season?
Consistency and just a continued pursuance for greatness. She's doing really good so far, and I just want to see her keep the same attitude and work ethic move into the outdoor season.
Elliott in the past has also earned Big South Weekly honors by being named Big South Women's Field Athlete of the Week in January 2018. What makes this so remarkable is that she is just a freshman who's only been pole vaulting since high school. With her already placing first in the Big South Conference as a freshman, the question is, what is up next for this competing athlete?
How impressive is it that she's only a freshman, yet she's already headed to the top of her field?
Wow, very. It's extremely impressive. Best of luck to her and her track and field teammates as they compete this season. Cloudy and 37 degrees might be a little cold for North Carolina, but it is great running weather. The Dash for Down Syndrome took to the streets of LeBauer Park in Greensboro this past weekend. The race was not the usual 3.1 miles, but a 3.21 distance. This represents the third copy of the 21st chromosome that is present in those with Down syndrome. A few ran the race for speed, but there were a lot of families and friends who took a more leisurely pace or even walked the course. The first 400 finishers received medals and probably headed to the nearest hot chocolate.
The High Point University lacrosse men's and women's teams both have faced unknown territory this season. Dedication, perseverance, ambition. These three words perfectly describe High Point University's men's lacrosse team for the 2018 season.
Though they are currently standing with 1-7 record, statistically they have the hardest schedule in the men's NCAA division.
This year, they've competed against the highest ranked teams in their division, such as Maryland and Duke.
Triad News 360 sat down with their two senior leaders, my anchor and partner today, Connor Robinson and Jason Ashwood. They were able to take us into the family of the men's lacrosse team and the strong bond that fuels their drive. Stay tuned next week for the full story.
Let's not forget about the women's team. They are so good this year. They cracked the national top 25 standings for the first time in school history.
Both teams have had to learn how to hold themselves up in these new yet opposing situations. When we come back, we'll be joined once again by reporter Ashley Brooke Daniels, who will give us an update on the High Point UNCG University basketball game.
And further updates on other High Point University sports. We'll be right back.
Littering is a problem that is slowly destroying our Earth, one piece of trash at a time. $11.5 billion is spent each year cleaning up litter among the United States. Cigarette butts account for 50% of all litter in America. Be responsible with your trash. Wait till you're near a park or gas station to safely throw away your trash in a trash can. We only get one planet. Stop the littering.
How am I going to pay for this?
Welcome back to Triad News 360. I'm Allie Gold.
And I'm Connor Robinson.
Let's check back in with Ashley Brooke Daniels at the UNCG High Point University basketball game.
How are the Panthers doing, Ashley Brooke?
Thank you, Connor. Allie. After Greensboro lost 64-68 to Gonza in the NCAA first-round tournament game in March Madness, their fans and their students are still super excited for their athletics. Today, I'm here at the baseball stadium, and there's a pretty good turnout for how cold it is since it is baseball season. They're playing High Point University, and it's pretty exciting because it's set to be a pretty good game. High Point this past weekend did pretty good in their series against Radford. They won the doubleheader on Friday, but came at a loss on Sunday. Today, we are here at the game, and we are currently in the bottom of the third. High Point is on the mound pitching, and Greensboro's up to bat. We'll see how the game goes. That's it for me. I'm HPU Triad News reporter Ashley Brooke Daniels. Back to you guys, Connor, Allie.
Thank you, Ashley Brooke.
Let's hope our Panthers end up getting the win.
Now joining us in the studio for the latest High Point University sports update is Triad News 360 reporter Jordan Hafner.
How are the Panthers looking, Jordan?
Earlier today, HPU announced alum and hometown hero Tubby Smith as the new men's basketball head coach. Replacing Scott Cherry last season, Smith coached at Memphis where his team went 21-13. This is Smith's 7th Division I head coaching job, which includes stops at Tulsa, Georgia, Kentucky, Minnesota, Texas Tech, and Memphis. Smith's career record as a head coach is 597-302, an impressive win percentage of 66%, and including winning a national championship in 1998 at Kentucky. Smith played for High Point from 1969 to 1973 and is an active donor for the university. He was inducted into the Athletics Hall of Fame in 2016, and a banner hangs in his honor in the Miller Center. Smith is one of only 2 coaches to lead 5 different teams to the NCAA tournament. He hopes to make HPU number 6. The High Point University baseball team continues its success in the Big South by winning 2 of 3 games in a weekend series against Radford. The Panthers swept a doubleheader on Friday, 7-3 and 15-6. Seniors Hunter Lee and Carson Jackson both homered in the second game of the doubleheader. HPU dropped the final game on Sunday, 18-6. The Panthers are now 4-2 in the Big South and are back in action tonight at UNCG at 6 in a non-conference matchup. The HPU University men's lacrosse team traveled to Richmond on Saturday to take on the Spiders. Coming off their first win of the season against Bellarmine, the Panthers wanted to continue that success. Trailing 5-2 at the half, HPU mounted a comeback led by Connor Robinson with 5 goals, only to be ousted by Richmond in the closing seconds of the game by a final score of 15-12. The Panthers look to bounce back against Jacksonville Saturday afternoon at Burt Stadium. The HPU women's lacrosse team has had a great year so far with a record of 5-2 and a top 25 ranking. The Panthers have been led by solid play from their 2 leading goal scorers, Darla Poulin and Erica Perota. With their 2 losses to top 10 teams, the Panthers are primed to make a run in the postseason. Tonight, the Panthers take on Drexel at 4 p.m., looking to extend their 4-game unbeaten streak. And it will be a busy weekend for HPU men and women's track and field teams. They'll host the Bill Webb Combined Meet starting Thursday and will also compete in the Raleigh Relays over the weekend. That's all for Panther Sports. Connor, Allie?
Thank you, Jordan. Coming up next on Triad News 360, we are joined by a panel of students to talk about the developments of March Madness and the Final Four.
We'll be right back.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
Welcome back to Triad News 360. I'm Allie Gold.
And I'm Connor Robinson.
Have you been keeping up with this year's March Madness tournaments? If so, then you know just how unpredictable it has been.
Allie, I don't know what to tell you, but my bracket is completely screwed up.
I'm so sorry.
In the first round, top seed Virginia experienced a blowout loss to number 16 seed University of Maryland, Baltimore County. And from there, everyone's expectations for the tournament turned around.
Joining us live in the studio tonight is a group of March Madness enthusiasts to talk about a college student's perception of the tournament so far.
Thanks, Connor and Allie. I'm Nick Zorian, and I'm here with Jack Cruz, Stephen Wilson, and Reese Belcher to give you your NCAA Final Four rundown. The first matchup we have tonight is Kansas versus Villanova. Kansas, fresh off their overtime win to Duke, will be looking towards their star and leader, Devontae Graham, to be their X factor. Graham is currently the favorite for the Wooden Award, which is given to the best player in the country in college basketball. They will also look towards Malik Newman to keep up his play, as he has been red hot, scoring over 20 points per game and shooting at nearly 50%. Another X factor in this game will be Ujuka Azubuike, who is playing with a left knee injury and shooting at nearly 75%. The Kansas Jayhawks will be looking for him to keep up his play as well. Jack, what do you have for us on Villanova?
Well, Nick, this #1 seed has been unstoppable, winning most of their games by double digits to this point. And I totally forgot what I was going to say. Totally blank. Sorry.
Jack.
Thanks, Nick.
Jack, thanks, Jack. Stephen, what do you have for us on the next matchup we have, which is Loyola Ramblers versus the Michigan Wolverines?
Well, we got the Loyola Chicago Ramblers, the 11th seed out of the South region. The Cinderella story of this tournament in a region where the top 4 seeds, Virginia, Cincinnati, Tennessee, and Arizona, were all out of the tournament after the opening weekend. The Ramblers' road to San Antonio included last-second thrilling wins over Miami, Tennessee, and Nevada, including a comfortable win over Kansas State in the Elite Eight. The Ramblers have been shooting 52% from the field, and although the show has been stolen by the 98-year-old team chaplain, Sister Jean, the Ramblers have made it to San Antonio through incredible performances from senior guards such as Dante Ingram and Ben Richardson, and along with junior redshirt guard Clayton Custer, who was voted to first team All-Missouri Valley Conference. Looking ahead to game against Michigan, they need to look forward to stopping Michigan's big man, 6'11" forward, Mo Wagner.
Speaking of which, Reese Belcher, what do you have for us on Michigan?
Thanks, Nick. While they aren't a Cinderella, Michigan's road to the Final Four hasn't exactly been easy. They've beaten Montana, Houston by means of a miracle buzzer beater, Texas A&M, and they scraped by Florida State 58-54 in the Elite Eight. One of the stars of this young Wolverine team is Charles Matthews, a Kentucky transfer who is averaging double digits throughout the tournament. Another star and a player to watch, who Stephen already mentioned, is Mo Wagner, a 6'11" big man who has been absolutely dominant all season. Both Loyola Chicago and Michigan play a very deliberate style of basketball, focused on defensive efficiency and three-point shooting. So, transition play may become a key factor in this game. Nick?
Back to you guys.
Thank you for the inside view of one of the craziest March Madness tournaments we will ever see. Well, that's all the time we have for us tonight. Thank you so much for joining in for this special sports edition of Triad News 360. I'm Connor Robinson.
And I'm Allie Gold. Thank you and have a great night, High Point.